Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh to the Muslim community of South Africa and also in particular the Muslim community of the Western Cape and in particular the Muslim community of Cape Town. Of late, I think you are all aware of particular developments at Mowbray Cemetery that is managed by the Moslem Cemetery Board. And I would say that there are developments as we go along. We will take you through a number of issues. I'm joined by advocate and fellow board member Shameemah Dollie Salie, who's also a known activist, former member of parliament, and current councillor. Shameemah.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh to the Muslim community of South Africa. I know that many of you are probably having wondered why it has taken us so long in order to provide you with a response. But you deserve a response from the Muslim Cemetery Board. So we are here tonight to answer all those questions that has been circulating on social media and all your concerns.
Thank you, Shameemah. You know, it's interesting that you say that. A lot of people were contacting me and saying that we're taking fairly long to put that statement out. But I think people do know from I'm in television as a talk host for many years and as a community activist, and I'm part of many organizations. Mowbray Cemetery is just one of the many that we serve. But at the same time, we've taken our time because if you know our work in the community, and you know how we operate in television, you'd understand that we put things comprehensively together and then we deliver the facts to you. I think the community knows us for that. I want to go directly in it because we are not going to hold you as a community long. We think that we've prepared what we needed to say. What we say in the statement is where our statement will end. This means that we will go, sorry about that, we will go into our statement, deliver the statement to you as it is, and then if there's any other inquiries by media only, then we'll provide that because there's still ongoing legal matters, so it becomes with the same parties. So it becomes difficult for us to jump around and do all kinds of funny things. We've got continuing legal matters as we speak today between the parties. So it would be incorrect to do anything else. But we've highlighted a few things that we want to say to you today. And that is in particular, we want to take you through a bit of history on the board, what we sort of found when we came there in 2020, how the team came on board, the rest of the team. We're going to go through the basic legal chronology of all of this because I think people need to know what's really happened there. And then moving forward, why there wasn't an AGM till now, what's happening with the financial statements, what's happening with the membership, and then the accomplishments of the cemetery. And then the greatest thing for me to eventually announce is how you can get involved finally. I think that was an important one. So that is the method that we are looking at the moment. Now, going into a bit of history on my side. So I think it's common knowledge. I think me personally, I think that people know that I tell things as it is. I have shared my grief fully, openly with you regarding my mother. And it starts there because I wasn't involved with Mowbray Cemetery. I was involved with many other things, blood donations, stem cell donations, cochlear implants for children, cancer children, the whole thing. But cemeteries was never the thing on my mind. It was literally something that I thought I would kind of stay away from. But I had this idea that something needs to happen. 2019, it starts for me, and allow me to be open about this. It starts for me when I get together with the Deaf Institute. We raise some money and we take 100 and odd deaf people for Umrah. My mother falls ill. We go on a slippery slope of cancer, and she passes away in September that year. That moment is my historic and defining moment. It is that day that ulama at the burial, there were 27 members of ulama, said to me, if we know you're not happy. So it wasn't only about me trying to reconcile her passing, but I wasn't happy what I saw, when I put my mother there. And the questions started spinning in my head. Do How do I help? So it's always about helping. I then pulled out of, or rather, I then stood down as the CEO of a broadcaster operating throughout the continent because I felt I didn't want to serve anymore. I wanted to take some time to find myself, and it's taken a long time. But it's there that every day that I would walk the paths of Mowbray, didn't know the people, but every day visiting her grave, starting to talk to one or two people and making friends with one or two members that I saw working there, staff members, and then a particular board member in particular, Mr. Hendricks, was the only person I really engaged with. And at that point, he realizes what I do in society. He realizes that I work in television, I have a certain reach with partners, I'm known to be activistic, and him being already close to his 80s, I think, he then says, can you help me find this? I need to find that. And I start assisting. And as we go along, right after my mother passes away in September 2019, right around March, April, I'm abroad at the time, filming part of my series. The first shoot I went to go to overseas again. COVID is announced while I'm abroad. And I come back. We've been asked to return from Jordan. I was in Jordan filming part of the television series. We were asked to return back to the country. Our government put a notice out, I think, and we responded to that notice and came back to South Africa. When we did that and we came back, things started falling apart with regards to COVID. So COVID now starts coming in. Now remember, in my mind, my mother passes away. I mean, COVID, it's a very dark period because for me, it feels like the world's ending. Everything just is not the same. A year ago, everything was fine. Now everything is wrong. However, I want to start responding to the needs of the people within the burial space. I got to know all the people. I started seeing what's happening in the cemetery, and I start finding what is going to shock you as a community. The president of the MJC, Sheikh Riyad Fattar, he knows the full story. Every time I found something, I picked up the phone and said, Sheikh, something is wrong. And I don't want to cast aspersions on the former people. Most of them have passed away. One of them, I've only met two of them. I met the one a few times, many times, and the one a few times only, and he passed away, also in COVID. And I'm left then with one member to deal with. But the community is falling apart. The deaths are happening. People are starting to come into the cemetery, and I see the chaos behind the scenes. Now, what's the chaos? The chaos is going to shock you. I never wanted to go through and say all these things, but now I think is the time that we're going to tell the truth, what we found. And I never told you as a community everything, but I'm going to tell you now. This is what I found. I found a board member fighting with all the staff. They were running a parallel organization. And you know, Mr. Hendricks, with whatever people want to say, um, there's a part of me that understands why it was so hard. He was a bit on the hard side, but I understand. And I'm under his guidance at that point. He's directing the process. I'm simply trying to help out. I'm not part of the board in that initial 2020. I'm trying to help out. And I phone people and I'm pulling in all my resources and contacts because the cemetery is falling apart. I phone people like Hanif Lunat, for example. A whole lot of community activists start reaching me because my dad also comes because there's no financial system. There's no records. The staff are gangsters, with all respect. I run into them now again, and I think time is the fraction of time, things have changed. So they talk to me, they see me now and then in the cemetery. So we've put all of that aside. But in the cemetery, I find guns, alcohol, drugs in the offices. We get threatened every day. Attorney Fazluddin Abrams joins me at that time, and he, as attorney, starts dealing with that. CCMA cases, trying to bring reform to the staff, but the place was in a mess. Theft was rife. Cars were parked all over. The parking lot was a garage. The offices was in an absolute mess. There was no facilities, no financial records, nothing at all. No policies, no procedures, no systems. Basically, this was a dump yard with all respect to people that tried in the past. I think the cemetery had fallen into a very dark state at the time, but there was absolutely nothing. Me walking around trying to phone people, get something, get what do you call this thing now? That generator. Then I phoned for clothing for staff. Then the staff threatened me. Then I was at knife point at some point because I was trying to get the staff under control. And so the community doesn't know. And I'm telling you, people, whether whatever my nemesis and enemies want to say, I don't care. They can comment on my hair, they can comment what I dress. I don't care. Put one meme after the other one. I know I went there to serve the community and try to bring a reform to this place that had absolutely nothing. Nothing. There was absolutely nothing. We even where my mom's buried, right up. People talk now when the grass is now short because they're getting used to the idea that the place is cut. But before that, you were sitting in a big bush. Sorry to put it to you, Fanning. And my head's telling me, no, it cannot go like this. So if you're asking now and you're looking for financial statements now, and you're looking for audited statements now, and why there wasn't an AGM, go back to all the years before I came there. There was nothing there. Plus, there was no systems, no procedures, no people that of like the team that we have now. Advocate Shameemah Dollie Salie, Advocate Yusuf Khan Dawai, Ayub Muhammad, a senior person in environmental affairs that comes to help there. And I'll talk about the team later on. But this is what I found. And at that point, I start sitting alone in the cemetery. Mr. Hendricks now leaves. So he's got loggerheads with the team going on. They're fighting there in the CCMA. Mr. Hanif Lunat will tell you he came to camp there. Hanif Lunat, our community activist in policing, he came to camp there and he said that he tried then getting rid of the criminal elements. But in that time, we had to even put a burglar bars on the officers. I had to, at times, slip in with security guards myself because I now started being threatened with a knife. But I'm going to say it, sorry, I'm saying it tonight as it is. I really didn't care. You know why? Say whatever you want to say and think however you want to. I'm going to play open cards. I didn't actually care. I lost my mother. My mother was central to my life. I walked around like somebody that's got 50 lives because my mentality was I lost everything already when I lost my mother. So I didn't care. And I just wanted to make it better because I felt the way that the cemetery currently looks. How can somebody come here and then someone's walking behind you trying to suss 100 rand out of you? Every time I come there, now I go every day. Imagine someone walking behind me every day for 100 bucks in 10 days, 1,000 rand for tips alone. So this type of thing, I saw all of these things and Allah showed me these things. And then we come to the part that an incident happens by the gate. My father came there because my father's an accountant. And Mr. Hendricks asked me, can you try and get some of the paperwork in order? And I'll be honest, he did ask me. I didn't know what was going on at the time, but my father came as an accountant to see if he can put in systems. He opened up the first Excel sheets, the first documents we ever saw of finances. My dad started taking it. He was in retirement, and we brought him in and said, can you try and get some stuff under control? Because it's already COVID, this and that. We tried to get some stuff in order so we can make the wheels of motion go there. By then, Fazluddin had done a good thing of getting rid of the team, and Mr. Luna threw them all out of the cemetery from a policing, I don't know what else they call them, law enforcement perspective. They were all there. And while my dad and a few other people tried getting the counts, and there was that incident at the gate, and and Shameemah can confirm, I'm not the person that asked for all my enemies that make that false statement. I'm the one that fought for there to be no overtime fees. And I say that to you straight. But Mr. Hendricks, and I don't want to push him down, he's an old man today, he's 85, I think. And I don't want to push him down, and he tried his best over the years. Um, he, he effectively put that in place and demanded I put it in place. I fought against him. There's people in this room here at the moment. There's many people in this room that is part of our technical team and part of our teams in other organizations and whatever we do. And they are privy to the idea because my team works with me from 2006, 2007, the same people. So they came with to assist to see how we're going to get that right. And they're privileged to the information where I said, let's not charge people. Even the incident at the gate. Before that, a member was on the phone with my dad saying, you go to that gate and you don't allow people in until then we were taking instructions. It is only after when COVID got worse and everyone vanished and I stood there alone with people that I don't know as staff that I started looking where am I going to get assistance. But then the community was staying away from the cemeteries. We didn't know how COVID was transferred from one patient to another. I frankly didn't care. I actually got at one stage in a grave with a COVID person because I was alone with an undertaker. People don't know that. And I didn't want to say this to people because it's also it's also my give back to the community and my give back, which only Allah knows. So must I now say it, everything out? That so I'm going to say some of it, but some of it is reserved and banked for me for the day that I'm gone. And this is why I don't want to say a lot of things that I go through on a daily basis. But let's have the open conversation to give you context. And then we have a situation where that gate incident happens, the other members we start talking to because I can't cope alone. I see lots of legal dramas. I see lots of, there's nothing in the cemetery. Um, I get the bank account and I'm handed a bank account, but there's nothing in the account. And there's like a lot of staff members and people have joined to help bury people. So how do we run an organization? The cemetery is in 13 million rand debt at the time. So how do we start getting this right? And I stand in that middle of the cemetery, and I'm going to stop here because I think that Shameemah and others are going to tell you how they came on board. And I stop in that middle of that cemetery, and I think to myself, how do I go from a high flying CEO, television talk shows, used to staffing, corporate mentality? I stand in the middle of the cemetery, lost my mother, standing here trying to bury people that I don't even know, full of mud. It's winter. And I'm asking myself, how did Allah take me from there till here? And then I start realizing that Allah has maybe asked me to go change what I can. And I remember the words of Sheikh Gabriel's because he said to me when my mother passed away, you must go and make it better for people. So Shameemah, you then start coming aboard and I want to drink some water.
So he wants to drink some water. So I'm going to go a little bit back because my journey at the cemetery doesn't start in, when you called me in. It goes to when I was very young, so I'm not unfamiliar to Mowbray Cemetery and what it looked like and the conditions that the cemetery had gone through the years. But I specifically want to go through the period of, say, 2007 onwards, because that's the time that my mother-in-law passed away, and it was a very emotional time for us. And we obviously frequented the cemetery even more so. And we saw the conditions, the panel beating that was happening, the offices that was in disarray. And Faisal made mention of people hounding you. So often we would have people hounding us and saying, and I'm sure a lot of our viewers would also identify with what I'm saying. Individuals coming up to you and saying, oh, we work in the cemetery, we'll clean your mommy's grave, we'll clean your uncle's grave or whoever else, and you give them money and you entrust them in order to assist. What happens then? You come back a few weeks later, and then what happens? That grave hasn't been cleaned, but the money's gone. You see the same people still there. You go up to them, all the excuses, oh, I was sick, this happened, that happened, but those graves never gets cleaned. Also, flowers that you put in the graves suddenly disappears, and it gets sold, and you see it happen, sold for another grave. So this is just a little bit of what I personally saw. The officers was in such a state. It was disgusting. It was even that panel beating that was happening at the cemetery. The place was in an absolute disgrace. I can honestly say I didn't feel safe walking around in the cemetery because there was no security, there was no one to protect you, and anything could actually have happened. Then in 2019. I cannot forget that. And that is also where I saw Faisal, the video of Faisal in the cemetery. And I think he probably even forgot that, where those, uh, we call it what, Satanists or whoever they were, who were
Oh,
staking
yes.
out those
October
tombstones.
2019.
Correct. And then that was another factor that really got to me, because we're going to talk a little bit about lineage, etc. But we've got so many ancestors that is buried in that particular cemetery, and my grandmother's tombstone was one of the tombstones that was taken out of the grave, and we could never recover the tombstone. Nor do we now know where my grandmother is buried, and she had a very distinctive tombstone. My mom is 96 years old. How heartbreaking is it for me sitting here tonight? Um, knowing that she is desirous of being buried in the same grave as her mother. But because of failures within the cemetery and the relevant organization to look after the cemetery and our loved ones, my 96-year-old mom, I mean, I can go before her. We all can go before her. But she will not be able to get the honor of being buried in the grave of her mother. Today, even now, recently, we also had another loved one who running out. But they have the opportunity, alhamdulillah, through the work that we are doing, to be buried in the graves of their loved ones. So that being said, in 2020, COVID hits, and Faisal was traveling. In March, I was also traveling. I was on Umrah, came back from Umrah, COVID hit. And I will never forget, COVID hit, and everybody started becoming so afraid of this disease that was going around. The uncertainty that hit. People were not opening the doors to their own families when their families were trying to come and visit. Families feared their own loved ones, their own parents, their own uncles, aunties, etc. There was so much uncertainty. Some people would lock the doors, try to stay clear, but I'm a community activist. We try to assist people. Faisal's also an activist in the community. When other people run away out of fear, we're the ones that run to in order to assist. So if you talk about COVID, even during COVID period, I can't remember being under a lockdown because we were serving the community. One day, I'm watching the social media pages and I'm looking at Mowbray Cemetery because there's a video of Faisal's father. And all I see is an elderly man going to a gate and people's making these very bad and ugly remarks. And I'm thinking to myself, why is this elderly man having to deal with this particular? What is going on? And at that point, Faisal and myself were not engaging in conversation. We'll see each other now, like on social media probably, but we weren't engaging. I made the effort to contact and find out, and I asked him, what is going on at the cemetery? How can people be charging fees for overtime, burials, etc.? That is not acceptable. It is not lawful. What is going on? I don't know how many people actually made the effort of asking the question instead of attacking. And I think within our Muslim community, we too often attack without asking questions, without asking, we're sitting in the heart of COVID. Everybody's running away from the cemetery. People are scared of those that are alive. They are scared of those that are dead. And I asked him what's going on, only to find out that this was instructions that was given, and it was very bad instructions given. So as a legal person, I then gave him legal advice. And that is basically how it started. Because not too long after that, June the 23rd, 2020, my father dies.
Yeah, Shameemah, yeah, I'm going to pick up from there. So effectively, Shameemah calls me and she does what people that talk outside and that only sits outside in COVID sends me letters, legal letters in from 2021 during COVID already to ask about land, disposing land, and ask me about how they can get into power more than anything else. In COVID, I get these calls from our current people that we're going to talk about now. Instead of asking me while we're standing there, trying to bury the community, How do we help? But you want to ask how we're going to get land. So therefore, I say tonight to you as a community, I'm unfortunately going to expose everything. And I'm going to tell you the back end story with our team because it is time for us to tell the story as it is. We've now given you the front of what's going on and how we got there and what the context we came there. The stories of how we overtook a board, we after the money, we've stolen 20, 30 million. What's the other ones? I'm selling bodies. I'm building facilities so that I can traffic organs. I travel all the time. I travel in my television career for many years, for decades, but I'm busy trafficking organs around the world. All of that. I'm not even going to comment on that because if it's that you want to distract me from a mission with, then I ignore it. It's as simple as that. But I'm not going to go into all of that now because those were very lame attempts when you could have just come and had a chat with me, which you didn't do. But I'm going to go into the legal chronology now of things that happen. So if you as a community were thinking by any chance that you only heard about the Moslem Cemetery Board now and the Mowbray Cemetery and its legal dramas, then think again. And I'm going to tell you why. This didn't start now, and it didn't start with the mortuary, and it's got nothing to do with the mortuary. And let me explain. 2021, Adil Basir from the Tanabaru Trust decides to send me an email, and he recognizes me as the chairperson, and he says to me kind of two things in the email, and I'll be frank about it. And he says that he's from the Tanabaru Trust, and so, and he introduced himself nicely, and then and I'm just recalling the email, I read it earlier on today again, and he then says that they're busy with something in Tanabaru and the Mowbray Cemetery, the Moslem Cemetery Board. I just call it the Mowbray Cemetery, although you'll see the court documents of the Moslem Cemetery Board, because the community knows it as one and the same as being Mowbray Cemetery. So I'm not going to call it the Moslem Cemetery Board for this purpose. I'll just refer to the Mowbray Cemetery as it is. So the Mowbray Cemetery has land that it owns in Tanabaru from the 1800s, I think, already. And remember, my mind is not there. We're burying people, right? I got an advocate, Advocate Dollie Salie Dollie, that has come from proceedings in courts in winter in their robes, take off their robes and bury people, right? We're dealing with that. You can't come send me an email asking me, am I going to dispose? And I thought about disposing the community's land that's owned by Mowbray Cemetery to your organization. I don't have the right to do that. The Muslim community of the Cape must answer that question if they want their land to be disposed. You can't ask me such a question. That is being silly, right? So that's number one. Number two, you don't ask, what can you do to help the community that is being buried? You don't ask what you can do. People are falling over one after the other. We don't even know which way to go. There's not enough undertakers. There's not enough ghusl facilities. There's not enough, we call it PPE. Not enough gloves. We're busy with that, trying to get PPE for people, trying to transport bodies. You're finding, I think even your dad was one of the janazas where you came there and you couldn't see the body. We're dealing with all of that. And you worried about disposing land. I leave the community to think about that one. But watch the agenda now. So then, 8th of December is where I start getting this 2021. Now, I ask the community to focus here with me. I'm going to run through the legal chronology very fast, right? But you need to focus on this part because if you thought it was about the mortuary was a front to everything. It was a front in my view. But this matter started in 2021 with this first email. He does talk in the email about he's been busy with the former board, with Mr. Hendricks. He does talk about it, and he does say that he's trying to wonder when they're having an AGM and all of that. I couldn't be concerned because for me it was every day I go there. I'm not employed there. I'm still not employed there. I'm not a paid staff member at Mowbray till today. I go there every day 6 o'clock, 5 o'clock in COVID times to go in the morning to see how we can help people from 7 o'clock already. And there's no systems and it's out of control. We don't have the systems we got today, which we're going to talk about. We develop systems, and therefore Allah has taken us on a certain path. And that path was to show us what can all go wrong and how do you make that right and better for a community. I'm not doing it for me. Am I going to lay in one grave? Why would I be concerned about making the old cemetery right? Build a ghusl facility. If I go, I'm only going to be there for maybe an hour for myself. So why do you keep saying my enemies? I don't want to call you my enemies. I'm just going to call you people that don't understand, because I think it's wrong to call you enemies. We've got greater enemies. We've got real Zionists we need to deal with that wants land everywhere, and real Zionists that want to discriminate against people. Let's not call our people enemies. Let's just say that they don't understand and they didn't inquire. Let's be good about it, We still belong to one ummah. However, it doesn't stop there. 2023, ex parte application. There's no discussion of a mortuary at the time. Do you know what an ex parte application is? Shameemah, you want to explain quickly? Sorry, I'm a law student, but she's qualified. You just want to explain.
You want to give people free legal advice. I think with the ex parte applications we don't even know about.
Yeah, it comes on its own. So just to explain to you, in this case, when I spoke to Attorney Alvi Albertus this afternoon, because we've got a standing legal team, with Senior Counsel Donald Jacobs, we've got Advocate Shameemah Dollie Salie on our side. We have our own resident Advocate Yusuf Khan Dalwe, and then we've got Attorney Alvi Albertus. And these are people that work with us in all the other things that we do at the same time, right? So now we have Talha Basir, the son. So the father now takes the break, but the son comes and he goes to court quietly without telling you, the Muslim community, that he's running to court in the background, without informing us. There's no service delivered to the Moslem Cemetery Board, no service delivered to Mowbray Cemetery to say there's a court matter, but quietly goes to court on an ex parte matter. And here what he tries to do is to try and get the court to set aside the 2020 constitution of the Moslem Cemetery Board. But the big question is, why? So I'm going to go into that. This is the part that you as a community are going to stand shocked. And I actually wasn't planning to. I'm going to be frank with everybody. I said it's an evening that I'm just going to speak frankly. I wasn't really planning to deal. I think if you watch my social media, this is just one of the many matters we deal with as community activists. There's always something every day that we've got to deal with. This is just one of 50 issues that you've got to deal with. But now that they've been spreading false information and want to put out silly notices in the public while they know they're busy still in court, and I'm going to show you, it's here on the table. I don't know if our technical can just take us to a wide shot there. Okay, I don't know if you want me to lift it up. Okay, I'm not going to open it now. I'm going to show you later what this means and what this really means to a community out there, and how we protected you and how we're going to protect you. We're going back to court to protect you on another matter. Right, so what happens now? Ex parte application 2023, it means that you go alone to court and you run to court and you ask the court, can you, first remember, when I got there, I got a constitution eventually. I got nothing else, a constitution, right? There's no financial records. There's no, I don't know where the burial records is. The stuff is all in a mess. There's boxes of things in each, when one person passes away, it's a little stack of documents. All of that is in all different boxes, thousands of documents and things like that. Sorry, I'm going discussing. Let's get to the to the legal chronology. I got the team here at the back that is trying to keep me on track. Okay, so the ex parte application says that Talha Basir approaches the court and he asks the court, can you bring in, I'm saying it in lay terms now, the 1948 constitution, and that constitution that Faizal got there, the 2021, can you get that constitution set aside and bring in a 1948 constitution, something that today is what, how many years? 80 years old at the moment. Yeah. Right, okay. So why do we want that in place? Let me tell you, we picked it up early legally. Our legal team got on it already from 2021. You had some dramas in 2022 there. 2023 now, he runs secretively to court without telling you as a community. Why does he want the 1948 constitution in place? My view and my opinion is as good as yours, and as good as our legal team, and as good as everybody around me at the moment. It's very simple. The 2020 Constitution, I admit, is not the best of constitutions, but it is a constitution within our contemporary time. You got the 1948 Constitution that he wants to bring in, that's talking about shillings of payments that must be made. I haven't even seen a shilling in my life. Okay, so that's a separate matter. But let me tell you the crux of the matter, and I'm going to prove it to you on how we saved you as a community from discrimination. You are going to be locked out as members from Mowbray Cemetery if they had to succeed in court all the way. So what's the difference? The 1948 Constitution does one thing. It says that this membership of Mowbray Cemetery is only open to lineal descendants of the original subscribers there in the 1800s, or I don't know whenever it was, in a time that we haven't even seen. And the rest of the community, you cannot be members of Mowbray Cemetery. Only selected family and their family can be members. The minute we got whiff of that, this board is a board of activists, and we tell it to you straight out. We fight many injustices. Zionism, racism, apartheid in its current form, apartheid in its future form, in whichever way it is, bring the apartheid to us. We clean it up for you. And that was exactly what was going to happen. We immediately kicked back. Ayub Mohammed, Advocate Yusuf, Kandalwai, Advocate Shameemah, myself said, absolutely not. Imagine I must wake up to a reality that only certain people can be allowed at the AGM of selected families. And it's not all the Basirs. I got calls from many Basirs in the last couple of days and weeks telling me, oh, look here, we're not part of this. We don't want to have a part of this. We support you. Many of those lineal families have been calling me after one after the other and said, do away with this. Do away with this apartheid thing if you can. I call it the apartheid clause. Now, why is it an apartheid clause in the 1948 Constitution, and why is it not an apartheid clause in the 2020 Constitution? It's very simple. The 2020 Constitution does a qualification. It says to you that any lineal descendant and also any other Muslim person. Now, that's what Mowbray Cemetery is. I can tell you from experience. We have a complete technical team that has geotagged that cemetery. There was a 3.8 million rand project in that cemetery to geotag and get all the records up to date. And it's not paid for. It's our friends that did it. They are experts in the field. And they came and they donated the software and donated everything based on our friendship. Now, there the community gets a free 4 million rand from our partnerships. In the end of the day, when we look at that data, I can tell you there are hundreds of surnames in Mowbray Cemetery, hundreds of families, thousands of people buried there. How dare some people come there and want to exclude all of you out of the cemetery and keep it for themselves only? How dare they do that? And then they demand that also. It was going to be an absolute no. So now, 2024 comes along. Then they launch a matter against the former retired old man of 80 odd years old. They launch a matter against him, the old member. And there, he wants that member to go declare the 2020 Constitution invalid. But again, why? Because they want the 1948 Constitution in place, because it excludes you as a Muslim community out of Mowbray, and everything is for them only. We were not going to accept it again. We're going to mediations and dramas in the background there, and it's back and forth with mediators, with Mr. Hendricks, with him. So all the meanwhile, we are getting distracted from 2021, got to deal with them 23, 24, 25, dealing with all of this in the background while we're trying to deliver service to the Muslim community. There's the whole thing is at the back. And then you ask yourself, you came there was no financial audited statements, there's no financial statements, there's no records. You come there and somebody is fighting and putting their hand up and saying, only us lineal descendants can be at the AGM, not any other member of the Muslim community. You can't be here. Now you get that. How do you run an AGM when you got a legal axe on your head that's demanding that only lineal descendants, that an AGM is only open for lineal descendants. I'm going to ask our technical team to simply play us a clip that came from a message sent by Adil Basir that shockingly for me, and I don't target you, Adil Basir, directly. I am not going to do that. I'm going to deal with the merits of the matter. I'm not going to make memes and posters of people. I don't operate like that. There's too many things that we've got to deal with. I deal with the matter in front of us, right? And I also remind you, Talha Basir, that you should have contacted me. You've never contacted me. Don't tell people that you contacted me. You never contacted me. You only contacted me through attorneys. And because you contacted me through attorneys, our attorney responded. So many people phone me every day. Right now, as you're talking, it's 20 to 8. I'm watching the time because I have a body that is landing in Johannesburg. A lady had unfortunately fell out of a building 2 nights ago, and we had to contend with the matter to get her through. We tried all day to Mr. Ibrahim Solomon getting her on the flight, and sorry, but why did I go to that point? Sorry.
Uh,
You want to
yes,
say something
I want to
before
jump
we-
in before we play this clip.
Okay.
So we are currently, I mean, I can see some comments. People like Salih David's indicating, why are you talking about things a decade ago? Like it's not important. Every single aspect is important because it leads us up to where we are today. 2007 to 2020. Now, I just want to place this on record because a very special person in my life, Haji Muhammad Sali, is my husband's uncle. And he was a board member at the last AGM. And that was 2007. That was still one of the individuals in that particular group who did an amazing work to try to pull the cemetery right because he noted to us the conditions of that the cemetery was in. And at that time, I think it was the last time that there was still, like these cards, membership cards, and etc. etc. But the man did an amazing job. His Manigam, may Allah grant him Jannah, inshallah. But now, if you look at the 2007 AGM, thereafter, nothing. Isn't an AGM supposed to be held within every 5-year period? So suddenly people wakes up in 2020 because there's people now assisting during the COVID period, during COVID when everybody's running away from the cemetery. But since after 2007, there was no AGMs held. Was anybody else attacking and saying, why is there no AGM? What I also don't understand, you don't get paid for this work. You've got a normal day job, but you're also running in order to assist with the cemetery. I don't know, I'm not talking years back, but I also heard recently, there are people that's sitting with documents of the cemetery at their homes, with books that's belonging to the cemetery at their homes. These items belongs and supposed to be part of the cemetery. Yes, when we came into the cemetery, everything, all the receipts, everything was in boxes, not in chronological order or anything. All that had to be sorted out. The rates was over 13 million. The consolidation of accounts to the city, it was a complete disarray. All those accounts had to be consolidated. Audits from SARS and ensuring internal audits of the cemetery had to be done. Now, I just want to remind people, 2007 to 2020. 2020, we now start coming in. Faisal starts and, draws the rest of us, asking us. I didn't even ask to be a board member. I just asked, how can I help? 2020 to 2022, we are in COVID. Nothing is running normally. Businesses and organizations, even their operations changed. Now you're sitting with a situation where from 2022 onwards, you are now trying to get compliance within the cemetery. I don't know if the community is aware. The building plans of the cemetery, do you know that the wall and the office, that was the only 2 items that was on that cemetery plans? Are you aware that not even the kramat was on those plans? So it was built, but without plans. This is the type of structures that was currently happening in that situation. The zoning with regard to the cemetery, that too, compliance had to be sought after. Now, Explain to me, how does the cemetery get in over 13 million rand debt? Right? Furthermore, when we entered the cemetery, when Faisal entered the cemetery, and as we came in, the money was being held, and you forgot about this. The money was being held at the homes or at the home of a particular board member.
Can I just come in for a moment?
Yes.
I then sent a letter of demand, and I think, I'm not sure if it's Attorney Fazluddin that helped me with it. Can't recall. So much happening at the time. But we sent a letter of demand saying that what money do you have at home, and that money needs to come to the cemetery with its records. And I wanted to know, and this letter is still on record, by the way. I wanted to know who the auditor is, and I then was given auditor's details. I contacted him. He never returned my call, and I chased him for many weeks, and he just went. And it was at that point that the new auditors came in. But
Yeah.
okay, sorry, I don't want
And
to cut your
then
point.
also the staff, the records of the staff, the documentation of the staff, all of that was not in order. Now, imagine you're dealing with all of these particular aspects. You're also dealing with emergencies, fires at the cemetery, burglaries at the cemetery, high risk of problems with security at the cemetery. You're also dealing with legal cases from 2020 to date, all which stifles your abilities to function, to proceed. Now, I want to ask our Muslim community, if we didn't come and assist. Yes, I know that Salih Davids is noting, yeah, we're unlawful and all those type of things. Mr.
I will explain that
yeah,
afterwards.
we'll get to that particular aspect, but I want to know, to the Muslim community, how many has actually come forward and said, this is my skills, this is my ability, and we've been begging. We've asked, please come forward and come and help. But nobody, very few, has come forward to say, how can we assist? But yet, when you open social media, the amount of attacks and insults for people who is volunteering, aren't you ashamed of yourself? We talk about lineage. I'm sitting here as a card-holding member. My grandfather, my great-grandfather were members. They are part of the people. My great-grandfather was buried in the 1900s, and I've got family that goes even further back, buried at Mowbray Cemetery. Mr. Davids, in all probability, we are also family. The Basirs are also related. And amongst the Muslim Ummah, please wake up. You talk about lineage. How interlinked are we all?
I just want to pick up the chronology from there, and that is sorry, our technical team. But I told him I'll be done in half an hour, and my apology. I'll just get through the next points. And for the person asking about the history, why we're going through all of the history, it's important. I think I qualified it. Just listen properly. I said in the beginning, I said that the story must be told. I've never told a story. So the story must be told. You must have context. If you don't have context, then you're going to jump to conclusions, right? And so context is important for any such critical matter. And then, in any case, let's just talk about now. So we get to the issue of the legal chronology, and now we get to the mortuary. Now, we have already been at the point of at this point where we're fighting from that time already. It's been a back and forth, right? They never ask, can I come see you in person or nothing like that. Just legal letters, dramas in the background. We're scared to move in anything forward. But what we decided to do in this time, while we're busy with that in the background, so we knew what they're doing all the time. We knew what they're trying to achieve all the time. They think we didn't see them, we saw them. So but what we decided to do was, we found the whole cemetery non-compliant on every possible level that you can think. No staffing contracts, no contractual arrangement with service providers that was there. There's no financial statements, there's no financial documents, no up-to-date burial records. We find the cemetery fully non-compliant on a city level. And I think Shameemah is going to read through that because she was briefed by somebody earlier on that goes through all the building plans, all the matters that wasn't there. But sorry, I just forgot about the issue on the lineal descendancy issue. What does it mean? Some people are actually asking me about what is lineal descendancy. It simply means that they only wanted certain people within their family and a few other families, and only they can be members at Mowbray, not you, the rest of the Muslim community. You would be fully excluded. Now, if they were serious about everybody included, then they would have agreed upon that from the onset, not giving us a story telling us, oh, but only we must be then, and then we can decide. I don't buy that story, because I've been through this many times already. I've been through dealing with lots of such matters before, where there are exclusionary behavior, and we fight exclusionary behavior at its core. And we'll continue fighting exclusionary behavior. That's what we do. And so we want our technical on that side to quickly um, play us the clip, and you will hear from here. If you ask, when will you have an AGM? Then did you ask yourself, would you be able to come to the AGM as an ordinary Muslim person before this court judgment? No, you wouldn't. You would have been left out. You can't come there. You're not welcome to be a member. Because if that 48 constitution was in place and the drama behind it, and they succeeded in court to have the 48 constitution in place, you would have been out of the gate as a member. Today, I can tell you that the court has liberated us, has liberated the Muslim community of the Cape, has liberated all us broadly as a community. And this has implications going further down. But now I want to play you the clip, because so that you hear that this AGM, the demand in the mediation, we were in a mediation, is only open to lineal descendants, according to Adil Basir, meaning not to the rest of the Muslim community, despite you all having different expertise, despite you having various inputs, despite 7,000 people arriving at the Mowbray Cemetery for the cleanup events that we initiated. Despite all of that, all of you are out. It's for us as family and certain families only. That was not going to happen. I think that in 1948, I think it was okay. I think we were in a different political dispensation and a different ideology. But in 2026, under the current constitution of the Republic of South Africa, I don't think that's attainable. And in my view, we as a Muslim community grow together. We don't grow in silos like that. We need the. So I'm going to ask our technical to play that team and clearly take note that it says that this AGM would only be open to lineal descendants. And I don't ask for, it doesn't give me pleasure to have this clip played. It doesn't. I'm not here to have personal fights with people. But at the same time, I need the community to understand that you don't realize what we've been going through since 2021 with them, to have the cemetery open to you all.
With respect to the settlement agreements, a draft settlement agreements that has been going to and fro, I will email to you the inputs I forwarded to our attorney to include in our response. However, it is a bit disconcerting to note that in their second draft now, there is no specific mention of the word lineal descent. Now, for us, that is non-negotiable. I mean, that was your proposal. When they came back after an hour, they acknowledged it. I still ask them, what's the difference between what the mediator has proposed and what you are proposing? And they said it was the same. What the advocate was proposing, and they acknowledged it was the same. So for us, that is a no-brainer. You cannot be obfuscating on those words. We want that words in there, that this AGM is solely for those who have a proven lineal descent, or have at least some evidence of lineal descent to the original.
Welcome back. Thank you for that. I'm not going to expand further on that. I've made the point, and the point is that the cemetery, that they failed in that regard in the court. They absolutely failed to keep the community out. They absolutely failed to keep in what I call the apartheid clause that excludes the community out of that. They've absolutely failed. Their big fight was to exclude from the first time we started dealing with this, and that failed. The important thing is that the cemetery is now open finally after all this time. I'm not going to deal, I do see some comments here of certain people. We're not going to deal with that. And if people are asking me, why didn't I accept some invitation? I'll explain to you why you can't accept an invitation while you have new legal battles on the table. They have served us with new court papers, which I'm going to show to you, which is disgraceful. What people are trying to do to the Muslim community now, and what they're trying to do to cemeteries and cemetery land. And so I'm going to show you that shortly. So you can't come contact me on the side and then go. And not that I wasn't contacted directly. I think they emailed the TV show yesterday. I was told about it yesterday, but you don't be disrespectful to people. You don't go and put a comment there and you say, I can't even remember what's on that post because I don't look at all the stuff.
I think it was something about, I also got it via on WhatsApp.
Yeah.
Something about sitting down together at a
Yeah, no, so
station
Sulu.
or making
No, no,
sulh.
sorry, do you know how much of
You know?
Ulama contacted me today? So much Ulama contacted me and said, what nonsense is this? Sulu, you know what Sulu is? You go sit here alone in the room now with a mediator or somebody and you talk it out. You want to do Sulu on a radio station and you want to invite me to a radio station without telling me what station it is to have a debate there. No, it doesn't work that way. You were in mediation with us. You demanded certain things in mediation, and we never gave in to those issues because we can't. I got nothing against you, Talk Basir. I don't even remember what you look like. I never knew you before this. People ask me, do I know the Basirs? The answer is no. I've only seen them in the mediation the first time. I never heard of them before, unless they were names for me from 2021, legal names, but I never knew what they look like. Um, I saw them. I saw them in the one in court, the son. But if you ask me, I won't recall because I don't know what they did in society, what they do. The only way I know is that Adil Basir is involved with Tana Baru Trust because also the new documents, but we don't interfere with him. Our job is to look after the Maqbara. We don't worry about what other people are doing. We do our thing. Unless you contact us and you tell us you want us to investigate something on the show about different things, and we do it. But I mean, there hasn't been that request, so I've got no reason to worry who they are. In the end of the day, I just want to bring up some other points here quickly to you. You heard that clip. That clip says, so we're done with that point about lineal descendancy. Let's move on quickly. I want to just quickly put on some other things to you because this is the mortuary matter. Let's go to the mortuary matter. I'm the secretary of the burial administration of the Muslim Judicial Council, the MJC. The president of the MJC, Sheikh Riyad Fattar, and I work on a daily basis. He's the chairperson of that department. I'm in that department for 4 or 5 years, also part of my social responsibility. I'm not paid by the MJC for that. So what do? We, as the burial administration of the MJC, we focus on all burial matters in the city. So we're involved with Constantius, matters that were recently there. If something goes to Johnson Road or goes to any of the other cemeteries, we deal and liaise with the city of Cape Town. And then I'm the liaison that deals with the mortuaries, like maybe Paul Forensics or Observatory Forensics. I keep saying Salt River Observatory now. And they're the next door neighbor of the Mowbray Cemetery, where when there are incidences, we've been struggling. We have agreements in place and contracts in place with other hospitals, and those agreements are so we can use their fridges. And we use them. I mean, it is 8 o'clock, 1 minute to 8. I'm going to get a message that tells me that a body has landed in Johannesburg now. We flew up a body this afternoon into Johannesburg that was just holding to go through. We need facilities. We built ghusl facilities at Mowbray, but it goes beyond that. You need facilities, the community. You can't come here with a claim and tell us that we never needed it for 140 years. We're 140 years ahead. How can you make such a statement in court? How can you make that statement in court? You know, we work in the space. I work with undertakers. I work with the president of the MJC. I work with all the undertakers that know exactly what we need. Somebody that doesn't work in that field doesn't know. You can go and try and interpret what we're doing. The lived realities of what we experience every day on the ground with people that have passed on or people dying in their homes, whatever it might be, is there. And so, as you know, we were not looking at, I had a vision for 30 and 40 years down the line. I have many visions for the Muslim community. Sometimes maybe I can get idealistic, but I had a vision later on that one day we can expand this facility and we can take our own people there. I understand it's a state function. I deal with the state mortuary, but I had this vision for in the future. But for now, when I spoke about the phase one, I thought to myself, we need storage facilities. With the storage facilities we use, we're at the behest of other people. So the one that we do use, that we're in contract with, it's at the behest of other people. If by any chance that facility needs their fridges, then we must move that body to a private mortuary. Now, at any time, there are Muslim bodies lying at, I'm not going to mention the religions, but at non-Muslim facilities. And we felt, and Shifatar is with me there in the meetings, I lean over to him and I tell him, he's worried about the contract we're signing with the other mortuaries, the other ones that we have signed. He's worried about it, about the restriction. I lean over to him in a meeting and I tell him, don't worry, Sheikh, we'll get our own. Our Muslim community must be on its own, right? And if you're asking me, is this mortuary a Faizal mortuary? Don't misconstrue that. Whatever is done for the people. If I must pass on, and I had to go lay in that fridges or that cold storage or storage facility, there's semantics there. I read international documents, so for me, it's a mortuary when you. I don't like using cold storage, although it is because people confuse it with the butcheries and the cold storage in the butchery. So I don't want to. I'm scared. A place where you store bodies is yeah, and there's no forensics there at this point. But for me, my vision was with my team. Ayub Mohammed, he was very passionate about this project, was to see the community having their own facility, so that we don't need to go knocking on doors. And every day, we must go knock on doors. I mean, like I told you, we have a body that landed.
I
now.
just want to jump in on that.
You can come in, you don't need
Yeah.
front.
Okay. So I want to take everybody back to COVID. Now, one of my experience, I mean, look, I've worked in the DPP's office. I'm familiar with forensics, autopsies, etc., etc. And one of the worst things is when you know that the Muslim, I mean, I don't understand our Muslim bodies, but we have a certain care that we give to our bodies and we understand the dynamics around it. And no one wants their loved one to be in the mortuary, whether it be for storage, whether it be for unnatural causes, and there's autopsies. Nobody wants to go through that. And may Allah protect all of our loved ones, inshallah, that we are safeguarded and that we can be buried as quick as possible. So I don't know if this was used as a fear factor with people to say, did you see they want to build a mortuary, they want to store your body? And that is a fear factor that I assume that was used in this particular matter as well. Now, during COVID, I want to ask our Muslim community, how many of you were threatened with FBOB? That your loved one was going to be taken straight from the hospital to FBOB. Now, my dad, when he mangled, we were advised, that he mangled, and within 20 minutes, a call came to say, if you don't fetch him now, or if arrangements is not made now, immediately they're going to send the body to the mortuary at FBOB. And we know the cost and the challenges in order to get the body released once it's in a mortuary. Now, I also want to advise there are several instances when bodies are placed in a mortuary, not just when someone dies of unnatural causes. So it might be families or that has to come and identify the body. It is also a situation that we now very recently had to deal with. And I'm not talking about our Muslim frail care centers, but if our loved one is in a frail care center that is not a Muslim center and they pass away at a particular time, do you know that body has to go to a mortuary? I wasn't even aware of that particular aspect. I found out recently. So these are aspects that we are not alert to. Now, whether the mortuary was going to be at Mowbray Cemetery or whether it's going to be at another place, we do need this facility in order to ensure that we maintain the dignity of our loved ones. But once again, these are only within certain circumstances that the body is placed in a storage and for certain reasons. But it is happening. It's not that it's not happening. It is happening, and it's been happening for a very, very long time. And the undertakers who deals with this on almost a daily basis will advise you accordingly.
Yes, Shameemah, I'm going to just run through a couple of points very quickly. I am privy to some of the comments at the same time. Look, if you want to get personal on the comments, I'm not gonna worry about those type of things. We're all grown people, so let's be grown up about things. But just regarding, there is a question. Oh, Said one, you're asking about what documents I'm gonna disclose to you. Another shocking thing. So you must stay tuned, because if you were shocked up till now, you've got a couple of other shocks to go. And I see nobody's organized me a coffee for tonight. I don't drink coffee much, but I thought there's going to be another coffee for me. But just in terms of Nash, thank you for your comment. We can't sit down with Talka Basir at this point. He put out a notice. He didn't contact me directly. When you want to make suluk with me, you contact me. People phone me directly and I talk to them. I talk to anybody on the phone. And he's never contacted me before. He puts out a poster as a showman piece, to show I have now invited Faisal to make suluk and he's not responding. Sorry, I work in media. I'm used to this type of things and these type of theatrics. You don't put a poster out. You contact me or you send me a formal email to my email address. Now you send companies that I'm part of, organizations. You send them emails. I get the stuff 3-4 days later because it's a few other. Never send me any email. I get told on the phone, there's some email. Okay, forward it to me. But the point is, by then, I see a notice as a poster. Is that what you do? If you are serious, you're not serious. You're busy playing tricks. And I'm not interested in that tricks. We got issues happening. Right as I'm sitting here, I'm telling you that right as I'm sitting here, you can go verify the story. Contact Undertaker Ibrahim Solomon. He'll tell you, I'm concerned whether the flight landed at 8 o'clock. Because we promised the flight is going to land at 8 o'clock, and Sabri Chisti in Johannesburg is going to take the young lady's body that was prepared in Cape Town today, and they're going to deal with it and hopefully lay her to rest tonight, 22 years. And Allah grant Jannah, a young lady, every day, dramas, everyday story. I'm concerned about it while I'm sitting here on the live because I must account for it because this plane's landing now and they're going to phone me. So this is the reality. But therefore, I say I don't have the time for the theaters. We must stick out of the theaters and get to the points. And then also at the same time, there's an issue of more legality. And now the fact that there's more, our attorneys are up and down today with issues. We heard from the attorneys, our attorneys have responded today on multiple matters. So if that's the case, then why does Talge go out and put out a notice outside saying to make suluk? But you got a new application, your father's dropped a new application on my table because he's now after something else. So if you do that, then what suluk are you talking about? You are lying to the community and you must stop lying because I will put the documents in front of the community and I'm going to show them what is actually going on here now. You don't lie to people like that. I want to make suluk, you put out a poster, you don't send it to me, you put it out in the community so that it can look like almost like Faisal's not responding. But then you put new legal documents in front of us now to respond to you, but outside something else is going on. And suluk is in a quiet room. Not I'm going to do it on the radio station. I've been long in media. Don't take me for a fool on the media side. I know the tricks already. I deal with the stuff every day. So just going forward, then firstly, this matters from 2021. Know that it's costed the community money. They didn't come sit down with us. They're playing legal games from 2021. It's costed the community money. This applicant was relentless, bombarding letters, applications, documents, all because they're after one thing, all because they want that 1948 constitution in, so we can keep the Muslim community out as members and only they in as members. It's going on for a while. Sorry, I'm saying it to you straight out. Right, I'm going to get to the finances and all of that, but now you understand why I can't sit with him. So let me go just through a few points. Firstly, I want to say to you, you're not fighting with us. We are individuals. We are people involved with various things. You can do whatever you want to do to tarnish our reputation. You can put out as much posters. When I put out the posters, you know what my friends did this weekend? I knew you guys were going to laugh at this. I don't know if you heard about it. But I'm with them and all these people. I come for lunch on Friday. They print out these memes of me. They put it in the passage with balloons on it, thinking, what am I going to say? And I tell them, so I said, you don't like me to talk about Abraham Lincoln. Abraham Lincoln removed slavery and he was the abolitionist. He was the guy that actually fought the Confederates to remove slavery, a discrimination. But what did they do with him? they put that poster next to me and Abraham Lincoln's poster, and I said, thank you very much. So look, guys, that's not the way that we talk as Muslims. I'm not going to make posters and stuff about you. This live is not for Talgel and Basir and them. They can do their own thing. The reason we're doing this live alone is because we can't reach in. We can't sit here and debate with them. It's not a debate. They're busy with a new application. But we, as a board, and you can call us whatever you want to, we love the idea of being unlawful. And we interim there now. But we love the idea of being unlawful. Must I tell you why? Because up till now, until this court judgment, our handcuffs were on from a legal point of view. They were saying, no, you can't. I mean, imagine you must go and invite the whole community in. It's going to be another court application. Now the court has pressed the reset button. And we waited for that for a long time. So we thank them for that part of it. But regarding the mortuary, the technical point was that the title deed of the Moslem Cemetery Board, the Mowbray Cemetery, says that the land is for burial ground only. The way we interpreted was that burial ground would mean ancillary services. We know that all these facilities, we built ghusl facilities, we built various other platforms to operate janazas and stuff like that. We knew that that was ancillary for us because we needed it. And the building is not even, it's not a new building, it's built. There was a dump yard in the back of the office, which was full of dirt for 5 years. I had all that dirt removed. Mohammed came along and said, come, let's develop this piece of land. It was just an extension on with a couple of fridges in, so we have the facility. But the court would not have seen that as a restriction if some Muslim person didn't run to the court and try to stop that. And it's still, I tell you, it wasn't about that. If it was about that, we wouldn't have been talking since 2021 already about excluding the Muslim community out of Mowbray Cemetery, which was the basis of our discussion. It was the basis of our discussion in the mediation. In the mediation, they demanded that we only allow lineal descendants, nobody else. And we said, absolutely not. So now, I just want to say, some people say that Mowbray is run like a business. You're absolutely right. All organizations must run like a business. This is an audited institution. There are policies, procedures. We're governed by laws. We are burial environment. We're governed by local bylaws. We governed by national legislation. We are governed by rules. We are governed by matters of Sharia and all of that. So we're compliant with those issues. So it's run like a business because it needs to make income. The running expense, sorry, can I just ask somebody there to just show me a figure by showing me yes or no? Sorry, I am not a finance person, by the way. I like the building of things and the making of things for people. Is it roughly 130, 140? Running expense per month? Okay, so I'm sitting with somebody that does the internal books. We got our own people that does books wherever we are, and the running expense of Mowbray is 130 to 140,000 per month. If nothing goes wrong, if things go wrong, machines break and all of that, it's another 20, 30,000 rand for the month. When there's disasters, winter can cost you another 50, 60,000 for the month. You can contact Africa Muslim Agency. Riyad Davids, he'll tell you 60, 70,000 rand to cut the lawn once from top down. And he will tell you about that because he tries to help us with that every year. And they've been kind to do that. Thank you for that. But now here's the issue. Mowbray Cemetery has 15 full-time staff members, more than any cemetery that you will see. There's security everywhere. And Shameemah is going to take you through the developments. But I just want to say to you that we are individuals. The Muslim cemetery was taken to court, not us, the Muslim cemetery. A community facility was stopped by the court. It's not mine. I want to, if I want to take private property and put up a Rasila facility where you've got males and females and washing facilities with fridges in, then I can do it. I am not, but it was opportune at Mowbray because we're the next door neighbor of the state pathology and all of that. Firstly, I also found no membership at Mowbray. That I can tell you, I only got 1 or 2 people telling me they're members. And then I want to say that the people that you're pointing fingers on the board, they're not your, they are advocates, they're professional people, most of them. Don't take people that serve the community and now want to smear their names. I'm okay with the memes and the posters that I saw that trafficking organs and all of that. I'm not worried about that. I'm involved with a lot of other things. I'm used to it. I'm 25 years in media. I'm a talk shows for 25 years, and I'm used to it. I don't worry. You can ask them. I laugh at the stuff. But you know what? History is going to record what we did, and I'm going to ask her to go through that. And then it's also critical to understand that. Uh, yeah, I'm just going through some of the comments here. Sorry, just give me 1 second. I just want to see that I saw that comment yesterday to stop spreading a further fitna. You've already created the fitna. You never contacted me. You went out and made a fitna. You made memes about me. Lots of things saying that I stole millions. I'm not saying you did it, Talha Basir, but whoever's there in your camp busy with that, I don't know. But I mean, I don't respond like that to you. We are grown people. You should have just contacted me. In actual fact, if you had contacted me and said, I'm gonna have a cup of tea with you, and I want to play a role, I would have said, sure. We always need help, but that didn't happen. And then also, I'm going to leave that part there. I think Advocate Shameemah Dollie Salie, I'm going to tell you about the membership also, because I want to make that proud announcement. And you must leave me to make that announcement, please, about membership, because I couldn't wait from 2022 to make this announcement to the Muslim community. I really couldn't wait. So you must allow me that. I want to feel like Abraham Lincoln for a few minutes when you announced that slavery is over.
Okay.
Right. Okay. Some developments with Mowbray.
I must just say, with what regard to Faisal saying now, his excitement, I'm also excited because I'm excited to see people say, we are ready to come and assist. We are ready to be members. We are ready to be on the board. This is our skills, so that we can have some form of relief, because we do have normal jobs, people. But anyway, that being said, there has been a lot of upgrades, and I'm sure those of you who have visited the cemetery and those of you who are honest will say, you know what, shukr alhamdulillah for these upgrades that has been able to enhance and service the community at Mowbray Cemetery, and also to provide dignity to our loved ones who is buried at Mowbray Cemetery. So the upgrades has been office upgrades. As you know, the office was dilapidated. It was really in a bad state. Security upgrades, cameras, and there's also security presence. Those who are going now up to the top section, just an example, you always will see that there is security. You feel much safer as well. There is a salahana. There's also a ghusl facilities, digital and hard copy of records. Now, as we progress with time, you know, we spoke about the boxes and, you know, documents just thrown into the boxes, etc. There's hard copies of that information, as well as it has been digitalized. The geotagging of the graves, which means if you are sitting at home and, or even you coming to the cemetery and you're looking for a loved one's grave, you will be more often than not, you'll be able to find that particular grave through the geotagging. Then the repairs and upgrades of the kramat, that has also been done. The upgrades of the pathway, the landscaping that has been done. Also, you've seen those beautiful cypress trees that is also at the cemetery. The walls built for security purpose, staff compliance and insurance of records in order. We've also been very busy with, I'm sure those of you, especially on the top where my daddy is buried, the chemical controls with regard to those Port Jacksons, the alien invasive species. We've been really hard at it, trying to get that under control. And then compliance of the buildings, as there was no compliance in place. Only the office was on the plans, and definitely not the kramat. Furthermore, there has been heritage declarations of the kramat. There's also about 6 sites that is now under national heritage status at Mowbray Cemetery. And then Imam Harun, that is a provincial status. So there's also a national heritage plan that's in process. And then let's not forget the rates that was written off of over 13 million, the consolidation of the accounts at the city, the audits from SARS, and obviously the internal audits, proper zoning of the cemetery. These are all of the matters that has been attended to thus far.
Okay, Shameemah, that was quite a mouthful. I want to take out another document because I told you I'm going to show you something shocking. And here it is, it was dropped by our legal team. Today, I also want to thank our attorney, Alvi Albertus. Um, um, I think you'd enjoy the fact that I'm saying he's very astute and he knows how to deal with these things, works well with us. Thank you, Alvi, for the work you do. Thank you, Senior Counsel Donald Jacobs. Thank you, Advocate Yusuf Khan Dawai, and the various. I've been contacted by nothing less than 9 or 10 community attorneys and advocates that said, can I join you on this? Because obviously they see the discrimination involved by leaving the rest of the community out. They see a situation where, you know, you know what I say? I said this to a radio station today. I said that a building we can build again. You know, a building we can build again. And anyway, it's only bricks and stone. And that mustn't come between us, irrespective. But we mustn't hurt the feelings of people. And you know how you're hurting the feelings of people? By sitting quietly in a room with me now. Sitting quietly with me in a room with a mediator, out of the sight of the community, and demanding that I leave the Muslim community out as members at Mowbray and only allow you as family members in, and that everything is reserved and you have special rights and not the rest of the Muslim community. Then you ask me now, can I go now to for Suluk now? Tolga, look, let's not play games with each other, right? We're not small children. I address you directly. We're not small children. Let's not play games. You know what you guys were busy with from that time. You know, with your ex parte. If it was about Suluk, would you have run quietly to court in 2023 with an ex parte matter to try and bring in that apartheid clause? If it was about Suluk, would you have done that? No, you wouldn't have done that. If it was about Suluk, would you have come now and sit and put out a notice? And people's asking me, you want to see the email you sent? Let me tell you what he's done ingeniously. He sent my TV show an email to public relations after he circulated the image in the public domain. That is not serious intention. And you know I can't meet with you. You know your dad has launched a new application for a land grab, in my view, of Mowbray Cemetery land that it owns. You know there's a new court application where you want the land. Now you want to sit there and say suluk to the rest of the community, not thinking that I'm going to show them the truth. Right. So do I need to come? Can I have an assistant do something for me quickly? Please. By the way, before I do this, I want to just, I want to quickly tell you about one thing that I forgot. If I can ask our technical people to do that, I want to confirm with you as a community, firstly, before we go, because this is forward going now. This is the new court case that they dropped on our table, and I'm gonna tell you now what they're up to now again. But we're gonna deal with the new court case now. So if you're asking for suluk, don't lie. You can't lie because suluk meant that we're going to sit here, not drop new court documents on my table and have attorneys email us the whole day about what you're still going to catch on now. It doesn't work that way. So don't lie to the community and then you want to paint a picture that I don't want to sit with you. You didn't contact me, number one. You ran secretively to court, and now you come with a new application, which I'm going to talk about. So let's stop the lies, and we move on there. And Tolga Basir, I got nothing against you. I don't even remember what you look like. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I am like that. Everyone complains about it with me. It's nothing to do with you. But because I work in the world that I do, I'm just that way. Sorry. I'm going to just hand this over to one of our studio assistants for a second. I'll tell you when to beam that up on screen, and I'll tell you what you're looking at, and you're going to see a shocking document. And everyone said I'm quiet the whole week. I didn't want to, I'm not here to try and expose, but you know what? Mowbray Cemetery is your institution. I can't right now. But before we do that, can I not ask you for that camera visual now to our technical team? I want to show you something else. I want to confirm with you two things. The Mowbray Cemetery is audited. I don't get involved with the finances. I'm not a finance person. I don't like it. I, my job is I look after staff when I come there. I visit every day what they're building, or they're looking after trees. Has the trees got the virus? What is going on? What's happening with the bodies? Is their body in a ghusl? Why is it? Go clean up a ghusl facility. That's me. I'm like hands on there. The rest of my life, I'm very administrative, but not at the cemetery. We got people doing books, and we got people talking to auditors. There's even software, and you can just nod your head if I'm right to our finance team sitting on the side. Is it correct that there's software between you and our auditors that um, that talks to them as to what? So that's correct. There's a what Sage program or something that goes and it updates the auditors all the time what we're up to. So I'm going to shortly, but before he does that, um tell you that when I came to Mowbray Cemetery, there was no audited statements. I sent a letter of demand for audited statements or any type of statements or any financial records. I never got those. We then had to start over. Kindly, Mohammed Steenekamp from Compano, A to A Compano, they came in. Alvi Albertus says that I pronounce it like I'm a Turkish speaking person. I don't know how you expected me to pronounce it. But in any case, I got it right. But they came in, they had to piece together what there was, and they got it up to date to a certain point now. And I think they're busy with the last document. I know that they have a way. I think there's one or two things they're waiting for the last one, but the audited statements are there. And in this special general meeting, which I'm going to give you all the details for now shortly, we're going to put it. So I'm going to put up on screen, and can I maybe call it up on my side? If you guys can beam that visual to me here. So, okay, I've got it. Thank you. So that I can also see, and I'm going to read you the letter. I spoke to the auditor today, saying to I put the statements where, like, I mean, and he just said, no, we come there to the special general meeting and we deal with it there because that's their job. But he sent me this, and he said to omit my concern because it's dated today, and it is from Capano Incorporated. A. I've got it right. Registered auditors and chartered accountants, and it says to whom it may concern, Moslem Cemetery Board, NPO number 19480602. It says this letter serves to confirm that A Copano Incorporated was appointed as auditors to the above mentioned entity and has performed the audit of the annual financial statements for the financial years ended from 28 February 2019 through to 28 February 2024. The audits were conducted in accordance with applicable auditing standards and covered the respective reporting periods as required. Should you require any further information for clarity, please don't hesitate. And you can see there Mohammed Steenekamp, the director of, one of the directors perhaps, of the auditing firm Capano. And so they would probably be there when we need to go through all of that. They've asked us to present that at the statement. So I just wanted to put that out to you, just taking also one step back, that there was no audited statements before this. There was no AGM since 2007. We experienced lots of illegalities here at the back end, holding and stifling lots of processes to get to the finishing line. But the one thing we did in our time, because we thought Allah's given us a certain time, do what you can with the time, and that was started cleaning up the place, making it better for the community. And I made a statement on all radio interviews during our cleanup. You know what the greatest scene for me was? When I see thousands of people walk into the cemetery. And now today that's a reality because nobody will be excluded out of Mowbray. I used to make dua that there must be a day because I learned, I can tell you, just to give you a quick thing, when my mom passed away, I never knew what death was. I used to listen to janaza notices. Like, just today when I listen to a janaza notice, I stop and I think about it. I wonder how the family's feeling, how does the son feel, how does the daughter feel? And that drives our work and what we do in this space. And what happens is you go into a situation here and you say to yourself, you know, make it better. So what we did in the time was all this upgrades. It's look, if you don't have the capability, and we're nobody great, but we put heads together to make it better for the community. If you don't have the resources and you don't have the contacts, like we come from television and activism, from parliament, and so we have the contacts, and we're able to pick up the phone and tell people, look here, the cemetery needs something, man. Are you able to do it for us? And we're gonna attend to you again. Like try to do this, try to do that. And that's what we've done. I mean, we've got a R4 million project, a software that whole place is geotagged. Everything is electronic. You book online. The whole cemetery is electronic. There's nothing now that is paper anymore. It's finished and stuff. And it's thousands of records, thousands of scans. I think document warehouse scanned. You can just say to me, Ahmed, how many documents? 50,000 documents we scanned. 50,000 documents, all burial stuff. Then we took photographs of every single grave and we tried to patch it up there. Parker surveys did all of that.
Faisal, with that, I just want to press pause there. So
No,
I
you,
want
you can't press the
no,
pause.
you
Oh,
okay, you press
sorry.
the pause
Okay.
because he's talking whole time. But I just want to ask the community, seriously, where do you think the money has come from for all the upgrades that has been done? Do we seriously believe that the amount of money that you get in a cemetery, which is from burials, is enough to maintain, to pay the staff, as well as to do the upgrades and the emergencies that comes along? I want to take this time and I want to say shukran to many of the people who has wanted to stay anonymous, but these are the stakeholders that we pulled in. And they've done it because their loved ones are there, because they want to do something for the community. They've dug deep into their pockets. And they were of the first people to say, we noticed that there's been a burglary at the Kramat. We want to come and help. We noticed that you need security. We want to assist. So all these projects that happens, it's because of people in our community who is lifting up their hand and saying, how can we assist? Even as board members, we, not board members, whatever we call ourselves now, but we dig into our pockets in order to help the community, to help the staff, to make things a little bit easier. So I don't know if people actually think about that, or they think we're running a business and that the cemetery is making
Yeah,
millions.
there's a very strange misconception. The cemetery must make as much money as it can. And let me explain to you why. Because that money goes into building. So I hear the comments, oh, they're selling flowers now, they're selling water and all that. It's not my business. It must be sustainable. They must go sell different things, flowers, whatever it is, so that they can put money into upgrading and making a better facility. So we must change the mindset there. It's a very incorrect mindset. But only if you involve the organizations will you understand. But in any case, just going back here quickly on the membership. So I have pleasure, finally, and then I'm going to tell you about the other bad matter laying on our table. We just have a studio assistant ready to show the public what you're actually facing as a community, and we're going to fight it off again. Like we fought off discrimination in our view, like we fought off in this matter the discrimination to keep out the rest of the community, we're now going to fight to keep the land owned by Mowbray Cemetery for Mowbray Cemetery and not have it taken by another organization, because another organization now wants to take your community land. And that's the new application that we got. So I'm going to talk to you about that now. So let's just quickly go. Membership. Right. So the court order, we welcome the idea that we can go to a special general meeting. And finally, it's open to all members. You can, it's there for lineal descendants of the past. And it's also open to you as an ordinary Muslim community with some demonstrated interest. I mean, you got somebody buried there. Welcome, become a member. So I have this great pleasure in saying, you can become a member. I feel like it's 1994 now, where anybody can vote. But before that, you couldn't vote. Now anybody can vote and become a member at Mowbray Cemetery. And so I have the pleasure in saying to you, I couldn't wait for this day to say that we were successful in court by having the lineal descendancy issue removed. We thought it was prejudicial. We thought that it was, in our mind, an apartheid, and it locked out the Muslim community. It has now been thrown out by the court in the same matter. And we say to you that you, any Muslim, sign up, become a member of the Moslem Cemetery Board. Take a vested interest. It's wide open. I want you to come in your thousands, if you can, across Cape Town. When you stand in the parking lot at Mowbray and you look up to the mountain, you will see everybody. You know, I stand in the parking and then I look up and I say, Everybody has somebody in Mowbray Cemetery. Every person has somebody. So go there, become a member, and then get the updates, do whatever you do, and come and vote in the SGM, because you know what? Before now, you couldn't vote. It feels like 1994 again. You can finally vote, and we fought for your freedom for that. And so we want, I mean, we've really been, I don't want to say this. I'm going to say it in any case before I take you to the last point. I'm in court, and in court, I must hear a non-Muslim advocate. A non-Muslim, after I put in all this time and trying to make it better, and Inna Malubinia, Allah knows. I don't care what anyone says. You want to make memes, do whatever you want to do. That lays on your shoulder. I know that what we've done there, and that's why, and these people know, and the majority of the community that comes out, 7,000 of them, knows what we do. And you know what? You stand in court, and a non-Muslim, and I have no disrespect to a non-Muslim, but I'm just saying it to illustrate the point, stands there in court and says, but Mr. Sayed didn't have the right to depose the affidavit, the founding affidavit, because, I mean, he's not a lineal descendant, or he's not a part of it. But I'm a Muslim. I'm a Muslim, and I was serving you as a community all the time. And I was looking after the maqbara, but I don't have a right. It must only be a family member. So that's thrown out by the door. But it's a moment in history, and remember it. When I'm gone one day, remember it. On the court steps, I meet our legal team, and we're about to go into court. I think it's time you can. And I said, why am I here? Rhetorical question. Am I here because I wanted to serve the Muslim community? Are we here because we tried making things better? All the years, nothing was going on. They did absolutely nothing. They claimed to be members. They did absolutely nothing. They're busy in another organization. I don't see anything they're doing up there. I don't know what they're doing. They also need to be held accountable. We want to know what's going on in Tanabaru. I want to know what you're doing with the land. I'm going to also launch an investigation to see what's going on there. And how is it that you want to sit there on lineal descendancy and claim to control the land for the Muslim community? That needs to be looked at. But let's have it in another time. Let's bite off one thing at a time. But you now know the story. It's Waqaf, no? So Waqaf land, don't have lineal entitlements. Waqaf land, don't pretend to own it. That days are now finished. So let's just go. Now, on the membership side, forms. I see our team has finished the forms. I don't have a printed copy with me, but I think by tomorrow, if you go tomorrow on mowbraycemetery.org, and you need to spell cemetery as, oh God, let me just see quickly, because people get this wrong. Cemetery. So it's mowbraycemetery.org. You will go there. We'll put up a special link. Hopefully the technical can deal with this tonight or tomorrow. And there you download the forms. On there you can find a notice of that we have now, according to the court order, we've opened up the regularization of membership. So we're now inviting the whole of the Muslim community. And please come in your thousands and your droves. Please come and just sign up, get the form. You can drop the form at Mowbray Cemetery, or you can email it to membership, membership at mowbraycemetery.org. So you can send that through, but go to our website, mowbraycemetery.org. You're going to find a notice there that membership is now open from tomorrow. The new documents, sorry,
Yes.
people's asking me new documents.
Yeah, you keep promising to show them the new application, so please
Okay,
can
okay.
you also show the new application?
So just, we have received another shocking matter. We were served with court papers last week. That's what I'm saying. Tolge, Basier, everybody, I don't want to disrespect you, but let's not take the community for a joke, no? You're taking the community for a joke. And I'll tell you why. You are sitting there and you're saying to them you want to make suluh. You can't make suluh if you launch another court application against the same. Now, this court application is by your dad is the principal there at the Tanabaru Trust. Now, this is the new court application, and I think I see it on screen right now, if I'm looking at you guys' monitor. What is this court application? This is the Tanabaru Trust now. Can we just have that again further up there so that people can just see the names there at the bottom, what's going on? So this is a new court application, dear Muslim community of the Cape. What they are trying to do now is what they contacted me in 2021 for. And what this document is, it's quite a thick document. You can see it's been stamped by the court. It's a new court application, and they're asking, or they're telling the court to grant them, through a process of acquisitive prescription, land that is on some other people's names. I don't want to get involved in it. They cited a whole lot of other people in Boerkap there or something. I'm assuming that's Boerkap. All the land in the Tanabaru there on top, the burial land. Then there's land that's owned by the Mowbray Cemetery, the Moslem Cemetery Board. They want to claim the land owned by Mowbray Cemetery, the Moslem Cemetery Board, for their organization. Now, this is not my land. This is not anybody's individual land. This is not, these are Waqf properties. Why must you go and acquire and take another organization's land, claiming it for yourself in court when that land was given to the Mohammedan community and was given to Mowbray Cemetery in the 1800s already? Why must you come now from the 1800s, launch a new application? Talha Basir's father, Aidil Basir, and a couple of other members. I know some of the members there, and I've been told that they are very good people also, and I don't want to attack them. I'm not here to attack them. Yes, and I think we can. Wait, sorry. If Dr. Basir's ID numbers there, I'm not willing to expose or put that on screen. It's not there. Let me just see what line it is. Sorry, people. I'm just trying to. Oh no, his address is here. Sorry, I'm not going to do that.
Okay.
Thank you. Sorry.
Okay, so I just want to
yeah.
jump into here. So I need the community to understand that the land of Tanu Baru was in 3 phases. So one is currently being looked after by the Tanu Baru Trust, and then there is a portion of the land that is owned by individuals, families. And I know that there was court cases and everything in 2018, etc., where certain individuals wanted to sell off the land. So I can understand the concerns of selling off a land, which is obviously very meaningful to all of us. Now, F682 was purchased back then by the Mowbray Cemetery Board, or the Moslem Cemetery Board, at that particular time. So the title deed is very clear. It says that that particular land is meant for every Muslim of the Western Province, which means every Muslim of the Western Province has got a say with regard to the land. How would any board, and I know it wasn't just us at the particular time, but prior boards has also been pressurized in order to sell off or hand over that particular land. Now, we have to be all honest, because Mowbray Cemetery Board has for years been paying municipal fees with regard to that land at the Tanu Baru. So we're talking about acquisitive prescription. So you could do some homework with regard to that. The individual is trying to secure all those lands belonging to particular families under acquisitive prescription, including the Mowbray Cemetery land. Now, if you think about it, in 2021, when the individual heard that Faizal Sayed is there, this is my opinion, that is what I see and what I assume. So I'm not saying this is what it is, but this is what I'm assuming. You first try to get hold of Faizal Sayed, and hopefully this individual will be prepared to hand over the land. But no, I was one of the individuals, so that absolutely not, because you want lineage, we have got lineage in the particular cemetery. Our ancestors was involved in the Tanu Baru as well as at Mowbray Cemetery. It is not for us to hand over a particular land. It has the say of every single Muslim in the Western Province that needs to come and advise if they are happy and content with such a decision. Now, you then decided to go to court and to court application. So what do you need to do? You need to get rid of whoever is on the board in order to open the path so that you can get to the particular land. The mortuary was just being used as another method of a step to get into the court. That is how we see it. So bottom line is, it is about the Tanu Baru land. And who is on the trust of the Tanu Baru? Now, We know the threats that is currently happening in Bullcup and surrounds. We know the gentrification. We also know that the involvement of the city, the LSDF, and the plans of romanticizing surrounding the particular area. But you know what? If we want sulh, and if we, as a your first step, what is supposed to have been to sit down and say, you know what, this land is under threat. We as a Muslim Ummah, we all have an interest in this land. Our ancestors are buried here. How can we collectively work together in order to protect the Tanubaru? Do you think someone like myself, who is related to Twanguru, from both my mother and my father's side, would have been reluctant, or any of us for that matter? Did you do it in the right way? We want suluh. Let's introspect. Let all of us do major introspection and think about it. There was other individuals who was on the boards, and I want to take the opportunity, because Faisal mentioned about very elderly people who was on boards prior. These people, I wonder how many of them also begged the community to come and help. They stood up, they went, they helped, and I say shukr, alhamdulillah, they did the best that they could do under circumstances, and I'm grateful to all our ancestors who tried to assist at the cemetery. But I'm going to ask the community again, including myself, I'm also guilty. Did we step up timeously to come and help?
Yeah, so I'm just going to make some concluding remarks. I just want to say again, there are people that's asking, but no, could this not be resolved on the side, and can still that be done? Unfortunately, I take displeasure in saying to you that that cannot be done at this stage. We've been through a court process. There's a court order being rolled out at the moment. The court order is being rolled out, and that means we are complying with what the court has ordered now at the judgment of 24th March. Sorry, I'm having a long day. And 24th March, yes. And so that court order is currently being rolled out. So we have to then respect the distance. The only reason we had spoken to you as a community is because, not to sit and badger them, but we owed you an explanation. You didn't know about all the things that's been going on from 2021. You didn't know what happened in 2022. You didn't know that there were legal matters in 2023. You didn't know that in 2024 there was mediations and all of that going on. That people didn't know. You only heard about this now because we tried to deal with that in the back end. And the only reason we didn't go ourselves to deal with it is because they didn't have the decency to step up directly to me, pick up the phone and say what they want to say. But they ran to the attorneys. Now, and then we have to respond with attorneys. I mean, we're grown people. We all have what we do in society and stuff. We're not small children. And we're going to deal with matters in a professional manner. Number two, you can't come and ask today for the Suluh matter. You can't ask. Suluh is not going on a radio station and going to discuss it there. But there can't be a discussion around that. And it's not to say that I don't want to. And it's not about me. I've got a whole team of people around me. We have an extended team, and then we've got a team of service providers. We brought in close to, our, what's the name first? How many? 60. We have 60 operational partners at the Mowbray Cemetery now that joins on different levels in our events and what the cemetery needs. So if it's paint, whatever it is, we talk to them. Sometimes we pay, sometimes they do it. You know, that type of thing. We try to save the community money by having operational partners. But those operational partners are built on who and the history of our board and the members and the reputation that they have in society. But I just want to end off on the last minute on the Suluh issue. We can't play that game right now because the game's being played in the public domain. This document that is in front of you that was delivered to me by the court, this document means now, despite it being the Tanabaru Trust and Adil Basir deposes the affidavit, and his son, Talha Basir. So it was an interplay. 2021 it was Adil Basir. Then later on Talha came along. Now Adil Basir again, father and son all the time. And while this is in play, a new court application, this goes to court on the 20th I think I need to just chat again to Attorney Alviel Burtis on our side. I do know, yes, sorry, take notice, application will be made on 20 April, which is a week's time at 10 o'clock or soon thereafter. So you can see here, I don't know, it's a bit far, I think, I don't know. It's a bit far for you, is it okay? So you can see there on the 20th of April, they brought a new court application to take away the land owned by Mowbray Cemetery up there and various other people, and for their organization to acquire the land that belongs to this community into their trust. And I think the Muslim community must question that. But now, because this is in play, you can't ask me to sit down with people that launched a new court application. It's not going to work that way. We also just want to update you on the legal side that our attorneys today has filed a notice to oppose. So we're going to oppose them and we're going to fight them for the community's land so that they don't take your land. We're going to oppose the matter like we opposed the discriminatory matter of lineal descendancy and like we fought for your rights to all be members at Mowbray Cemetery. We're going to oppose it again, the discrimination. And I see this discrimination to take the community's land into another organization. I don't believe this is the right thing to do. It's not the right thing to do. It's ethically wrong, in my opinion. These are my opinions, and there's a whole lot of other people involved here. And so that is all from us at this point. Unfortunately, I'm going to say that when the opposing party is in the room, we have a legal team that's dealing with the matter. Don't expect that type of discussion. There are legal matters that must be. Sorry, the team is just. Sorry, there was another point. Sorry, just for this.
Member forms. Oh, the member forms. There will be member forms
Oh,
available
so
to the community.
okay,
to
you can
sign
pick the
up.
membership
Yes.
forms up at the Mowbray Cemetery, some other places. Yeah, and, if you know the office is there. By the way, that office was in an absolute mess. Nobody was there. It was bad. But in any case, so then you got so pick up the forms, become a member, and then the AGM dates will be announced after that. And then sorry, it's not an AGM, the court.
It's an SGM.
An AGM, and also on that day, I think the auditors will be there and they will go through the financial statements with you and what we have found in that time. I also think I have been contacted in the last weeks by literally hundreds of people, hundreds. I'm not joking, and it's a great feeling when people contact you and say, "Thank you for what you're doing." I have people walking up to me on the mall all the time, everywhere. I don't know if it's happening to you, and they're thanking us for doing what we've done. I've not done this for the praise and thank you. I literally, if I could sit there quietly, let me tell you what's my best times at Mowbray. I'm going to end off on a lighter note. My best times at Mowbray is not this. My best time is not when I must make a video about what's going on. I tried being as transparent. We've tried being as transparent. We made a video for everything. And the reason being that we could show you what we can show, that we are trying to do the work. So we created a video for everything. You know that. But to such a point that people think that Mowbray, and that's like my main operation. It's 2% of what I do. But in any case, with regards to that, my best times at Mowbray is the days that I pop in and I walk under the trees and I quietly look at the growth of the cypress trees, and a staff member comes up to me and says, what must I do about this? What must I do about that? And I respond to them saying, no, put this there, take that there, sort out this, what's happening with security. You know, those are my best times, not this. This is not what I signed up for. I signed up to make things better for the community. I can only say for myself, I can tell you, Ayub Mohammed at home, thank you for what you're doing. You signed up to look after the community. Yusuf Khan Dawai, all our operational partners, Attorney Alvi Albertus, Shameemah, thank you for what you're doing, and thank you for phoning me on the day asking me, because not a lot of people phoned. I understand. It was COVID. Not a lot of people phoned to ask what can they do. There were companies that phoned to offer gloves and things like that, whatever it is. But not a lot of people asked and was that. And I understand. I don't put it on your shoulder to stand there and carry a COVID body. I mean, I got COVID myself. I was in ICU and stuff. I was on a ventilator. And no, not a lot of people stand there doing that. and it's not for everybody. The stuff we see sometime in the cemetery is not for everybody. I'll say that to you again. Everybody wants to be involved, but it's not for everybody because it's a difficult thing to see every day, you know. And so I want to thank you as a community um, for supporting the cemetery. Don't worry about me. I'm just a little servant that Allah sent there to try and do something. And whichever way anyone wants to read it, they want to make memes about me, they want to post comments that I traffic bodies, that I've stolen millions, do it. And I tell you up till now, continue doing it if you want to do it, because only Allah knows. But He is going to hold you responsible because I've not stolen millions and I've not trafficked bodies. So if that's your way of trying to get me down, it won't work. I'm in the public domain for 25 years. I'm used to it. Shameemah, any last words?
Oh, you know what? We are going through so much in this world, globally, in our country. There's so many things that we are involved with. And as a Ummah, we need to start uniting and work together, not work against each other, because this is not what I signed up for. Sitting in court and going through these type of piles is not what we signed up for. So I just want everybody to, don't do the whole siding thing. I just want people to think for themselves, look at both sides of the situation, look at yourselves and ask, first be honest with yourselves. And I want to be honest with myself. Have I done enough? What have I done? Have I come forward to assist? And if you cannot answer those questions, then how are you placing yourself in a position to take sides of either one? Let us be fair, let us be honest, let us find a way to navigate and come together, because there is so many who actually wants to divide us. Shukran.
In conclusion, I want to say that thank you for joining us this evening. Also, at the same time, with regards to going forward, I'm not. If there's any response, firstly, I have admins on this page because of the work that we do. My day job is television and media, and inshallah, I'll be a lawyer soon, end of this year. That's my day job. If there are comments that are personal, I don't have a problem with a Zionist on my page that insults my hair and insults my cloak. I mean, they forever after the cloak. I don't know. It's a simple cloak. I don't even wear all these funny things. It's a simple little cloak. I don't know what the drama is. But I'm not worried about that. I've instructed my admins to remove any personal matters because it clouds the issue. Right? We've tried answering all the questions. We prepared all our content and we tried answering all the questions. But importantly, when you leave this video tonight, know something, that this year was our story. This was our story. We had a right to tell you our story, because when were we going to tell you our story? Like Sheikh Riyad always tells me, when are you telling your story that you're so quiet about the dramas you go through every time? Say your story. So if you're going to ask me how come Tolga wasn't here, well, I already explained to you. They got a new legal matter, and although he's not the applicant, but it's father and son, so we can't say that it's not muddled up. It's muddled up, it's the same thing. And for us, so in the end of the day, I want to say, even if Tolga responds, writes a letter, whatever, today onwards, I'm not going to read anything. I'm not going to listen to anything. I've made my statement with a board statement that is fully vetted by our legal team and is fully vetted by the rest of our board members directly to you as a community. I told you exactly what's going on. I've tried to show you exactly what's going on. There's nothing for me more to say, but for you to come to the SGM on the date that it's going to be announced, and then you can go through whatever you want to there financially, whatever you saw the letter from our auditors. For you that missed it, Ahmed, if you can just quickly for a second just pop that thing again on there. Our auditors have, you can see that on screen right now, our auditors have said there that they've been auditing the books from the time we got there till now. I think they're busy with some last thing. I don't know how it always works in the auditing world, but they're busy with the last stuff there. And so that's also out of the ballpark. And so in the end of the day, I want to say, if anyone writes any responses, I give you a guarantee. Send me any type of letters on this matter now. I'm not going to read it. I can tell you outright I'm not. When I got sent the memes and stuff, I never worried about it. That I just looked at. Because we had the right here to tell you our story. You know why? Because it's we that don't sleep at night. It was me that's sitting at the phone, on the phone at 2 o'clock in the morning. It is us trying to keep the community together while people go on with their daily lives. It was the applicants here never did anything for the cemetery. They never came to clean up. They never did any work. I never saw them at our community cleanup events and stuff like that. So it was our time to tell you what we've been doing. And I say it to you unapologetically today, that it was our time to tell you what we've been doing because people were smearing our names. And this was our platform to do that. But if there's any response to this, this was our story. We know our history. We know what occurred. You can't come and dispute that in any case. So I'm not going to read any responses because I've got other work to do. And at the same time, imagine how you must deal with people from 2021, one legal matter after the other one, distracting the community and distracting us from the real work that goes on in cemeteries from 2021 already. And then come and prejudice the community, in my view. The court in the mortuary matter would not have worried about the mortuary. The court, they pointed out there's a restriction, oh, you can't now, whatever. We reported for the community and it wasn't mine. It wasn't mine. If something happened to me, I'll be there in for 5 minutes and whatever it is. So, you know what? And by the way, we're still going to make that project work. Whether it's there or somewhere else in the future, I don't know. I don't want to say too much. But our jobs is to build society and to give society what it needs as our social responsibility, not our day jobs. So don't sit there, swear, make names and all kinds of things in something that's our social responsibility. Myself, Shameemah, and the rest of the team in this operation, in particular, do so for the sake of the community. And so if you want to call names and do whatever you want to, you're quite welcome to do that. And Allah knows best. Thank you for joining us tonight. I hope we have given you the information that you needed. And I rest the matter at this point from our side. We're now going to focus purely on the issue of dealing with the special general meeting, and we invite the entire community to come out, get involved, and if you want to see us and our board back again, well, then we will go there and do that and do this all over again. It's a labor of love. I'll go do it all over again. And I leave you with one thing. A man stopped me one day in the cemetery and he said to me, "Tell me, I see you visit your mother every day. You walk around in the cemetery scratching every day. I've seen you too many times. When are you going to worry about the future? She is gone now. So when will you worry about the future?" My response was to him that I'm looking at the future right now. So remember that. When you're going to the Maqbara, you're looking at your future. The very land that we are now consumed by is going to consume us. The very land that we consume ourselves with is going to consume us. Let us think about that for a moment. Thank you for joining us. Goodbye.